So a lot of businesses actually went down, and some industries like travel severely got affected. So did a lot others, travel being the affected the most. And people actually trying new ways to, get income, get some money in and stabilize their own businesses. And in fact, every experience based business from events to eating out, everything got shunned. And they're just trying to some alternate way to stabilize their business. So I wanted to ask Sir Sohail that how can people approach in this, and how can digital experiences enable the ones who are experience-based setup initially?
Couple of things that businesses will start doing now. One is they will need to find alternative revenue streams to earn money or to sustain their business. But at the same time, they'll find alternative ways of also marketing their business. This is more for the businesses that are established, and what I foresee is I think brands will definitely have to start going hyperlocal, which is optimizing their Google My Business, optimizing their SEO far more than what they were doing before, consistent online and offline experiences, creating local content, because everyone is now going to start looking for you and start searching for things online. So I think that is one side of it. Second, they'll start creating certain experiences and services that are virtually or augmentedly available for you. So creating AR and VR capabilities. It's already interesting. There's already people who are bringing on try your own hair color. Or interestingly, I got a brief that day where it was an automobile company that said, okay, hey, we want to create a 360-degree view of our automobile. Second side is, yes, they're going to, in terms of how can they create alternative revenues, like I already said, I think e-commerce is something that they're going to start preparing for. That is a no-brainer that people are going to go after. I was interestingly in a conversation with someone from the agricultural business as well. And they're more of a B2B business. And interestingly, he said, look, I also want to, how can I ride this e-commerce bandwagon as well? How can I serve my B2B business, and how can they take bulk orders from me also online and make those purchases online? So it's interesting, and it's seeing everyone is trying to evolve and move to the e-commerce space. The third one is it's going to be subscription models, because businesses are going to want to tie in their customers for the long haul. So, and you're going to start seeing even this change in consumer behavior, where they're not going to look at an individualistic approach, but a collective approach. So brands that are selling a lot of products, and those brands will start creating collective boxes, so like makeup kits, baby kits. I think these are various alternate streams that that businesses are going to start taking and start serving their customers.
Yeah. Particularly about the agro business which you just spoke of, and there is another company under the portfolio of InfoEdge which does the same, and we are seeing such sectors into e-com which we would never really expected before. Right. Yeah. And recently you mentioned that a lot of collaborations like Shopify on Facebook are happening.
Yeah.
And taking that forward to Sakshi, how are these collaborations relevant, for businesses in today in sustaining themselves in terms of both communication partnerships as well as business partnerships?
Good question, and a relevant one actually. It's all the more important now because, with the current situation, so many businesses have reached a position where it's difficult to sustain, unfortunately, and there are many businesses that need help. So I like the point that Sohil mentioned about, digitizing the work that businesses do. And similarly, for example, we offer online therapy. So, I am observing this firsthand, that the need for alternatives online, the need for support, and especially accessible support has definitely risen. And now we need to just, as an organization, need to observe, clearly see which, look at different organizations, look at their models, how they used to work, and if it's for example, if it's a very local model, how do we partner with them? How do we provide them value? We need to actually, be very strategic and be at the lookout to see which one is the right fit. But having said that, we also need to be careful while pitching ideas. We need to move away from hard sell, and we need to be empathetic. We need to really understand what not just our requirements, but also the other party's requirements. We need to be very open and supportive, given the atmosphere that they're in.
Really, the partnership is really meant to be more for both parties if we go ahead with such kinds of activities, and together adding value to each other and tapping a similar customer base. And
these current collaborations set a precedent. Then the argument will no longer be of why this collaboration, but it'll rather be of how to now do this collaboration between the two brands. How do we now take this to the next? How do we now take this collaboration to the next level? So what we're thinking today is unlikely, may possibly tomorrow's norm. So your Pepsi Coke could possibly, I don't think they'll collaborate, but maybe you'll see some good collaborations there.
Quite unlikely, but it will be really interesting. And I hope they do it on a billboard so that it makes a case for 100 more years. So there's a lot of things that we have actually come up that every company has started to make, things like sanitizers, every FMCG. There's a lot of non-FMCG companies also getting into that. So there's a lot of things that companies are trying to do for which have a short-term impact. And generally ask Mr. Serial Entrepreneur, that is Sam, that what in these things that you see as becoming unsustainable with time, such new offerings or some content formats which will actually become unsustainable with as things start to normalize.
But this is pretty interesting, in fact, and this is a grave danger for a lot of people, both individuals and businesses, because this is not something which is happening right now. And the normal human nature is that we ignore the things that are a little distant in the future. We focus on what is happening. So you see social media coming in and everybody's just jumping into the social media. Now everybody's just digital, everybody's singing that song. Coronavirus came in, everybody became an expert on how to use social, and webinars were flooded. I in fact posted that WHO has officially declared now death from webinar as an official epidemic. Now, you see, so, and this is a problem, I'm from marketing background, sales marketing background, and there's a saying that if you want to spoil something, give it to marketers. We just overdo of everything so much that we completely destroyed the essence of it. So the question is becoming more relevant and important because the degree of the change in the world is so fast today. Because of course, the fact that we're connected and the information travels faster, but because of the COVID and this pandemic attack also, we are overlooking what is going to happen. So there are 3-4 things that, I've been doing a lot of research on it, talking to a lot of people, listening to a lot of intelligent people, and studying on what has happened in the last 200-300 years. And here are the things that I personally see. So from the industry, I think almost everybody is missing is the new currency, the digital currency. And I'll tell you why I'm talking about this. What we have seen that the coronavirus lockdown has exposed the systems of governments, and it has exposed the income disparity. It has told us that how ill prepared we all are. Hospitals collapsed big time. We could not have transportation. There were tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of migrant workers forced to walk on the roads. We could not feed people. People were dying, and we had to have the lockdown because we did not have the PPE kits. I mean, for example, when the lockdown started, India was producing zero PPE kits. It took us around 2 months or so. Now we're producing almost 2 lakh PPE kits every day, almost in a position to export it. So we were not prepared, and this tells us that the income disparity and the institutions that we have, right from the stock markets to the public distribution system, to the healthcare system, to the education system, that is state-driven, that is state-controlled, all these systems are rotten, they are ill, they are dead, and they do not function for the majority of the population. And that would mean that these systems will have to be relooked at, they will have to be redesigned at, and it's not a choice anymore. And I can give you some quick, Modi ji came in a few days back, said, Atmanirbhar Bano. So this globalization thing, which started in 80s and 90s, wherein we thought that we could come together, trade with everybody, and then it's going to be good. All of a sudden, you have all these big powers, the global powers saying, fuck the globalization, everybody on its own, take care of yourself, produce local, and then you'll be surviving. Now that is going to change a lot about the financial markets, because the financial markets primarily based on dollar, right? And this big fight between India, China, US, all these things happening, this currency system is going to go out completely. This whole credit that is being created, it's a big bubble, and this is going to burst very, very soon. We are already into the depression. What is going to save this whole thing is a new kind of currency. And that means the Bitcoin, the blockchain, all these currencies are going to be very, very big, and they are going to be mainstream. And if somebody is doing some business inside these things, these are the people who are going to definitely win. I'll just quickly also touch upon the other part of your question, which talks about, people are going to, what are the sustainability trends, and what are going to work, what is not going to work. I think the more people come online, and more people start using social media, of course the content will be a lot high, the consumers will be less, and it's going to saturate. The organic reach is already dead on major social media platforms barring LinkedIn. Another 6-8 months, maybe a year down the line, LinkedIn also is going to hit the same thing. So the organic reach for any content on any social media platform is going to go die, meaning the paid ad is going to be the big thing for you. And as we realize that more people, more companies are going to spend more money to grab the customer's attention, the paid ads are also going to become very expensive. This becomes very difficult for smaller businesses and smaller entrepreneurs to grab the attention, because they'll not be able to throw those many dollars into it. You see, and that's going to be a big problem. What are the solutions that they can have in the mid to long term? You need to have somehow a control of your tribe, of your customers. So communities around your brand are going to be the major important part of it. Wherein, what I mean, basically, you've got to have your contact number, your emails of your customers, and then engage with them somehow, so that you're not depending on Google, Facebook, all these distribution platforms for distribution. You can, because if you have a database of, let's say, 1,000 people, or maybe 10,000 people who are your community, your target customers, and all you do every day is just bombard them with, yeah, this is my offer, this is my product, buy it, they're going to block you anyways. So what you got to do is you got to reverse engineer from their point of view, list down those 15 problems that they might be facing in their day-to-day life, and 13 out of those 15 problems will be absolutely not doing anything with you. They can be absolutely everything about their life, and you give them content and help on those topics, and then somehow you become their brand, and you become their buddy, and they will somehow decide to buy from you. And what you will be able to ready in that moment is to have various products, which is the diversification. You can't sell one thing to them. You should be able to sell them many things. So I think this is what I see major trends going forward, both in terms of the products and services, and the industries that are probably going to go down are going to become absolutely non-sustainable. And also how you can tap into that in terms of creating content, engaging with your people, and making sure that you stay on the right side of the history. And so
I think thing you said about paid ads, I think that made Sohil smile a little inside, because he is into that business very strongly. Probably he'll get a bigger media spend. But an interesting point that you said that if you want to spoil something, give it to marketers. And I think my perspective in that was be like, if you want to make the best out of something, you just give it to a set of entrepreneurs and just leave it there. And
yeah.
So I think that would be a great note to end this episode of What an Insight. I'd really like to thank all the panelists, Sam, Sakshi, and Sohil, for being here. We have had a triple S today. And thank you all for joining in and lending your valuable insights.